I think a lot of it fell on me because I don't think I ever communicated well enough to anyone around me what I wanted to do in life, you know? Like, I think everyone around me, it looked like I might be like aimless, clueless. You know, I was depressed at the time, most likely just because I bottled up the feelings of what I wanted, even though I was doing what I wanted, but everyone around me, I felt like was judging me based on what I was doing.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Player Hustle. Today we have a LiNkzr. I wanted to tie it into the like cute cats in the background there. Which one is your favorite?
I have so many of them. I really like the pizza one.
Yeah,
it has the red scarf on right now, but
nice.
I think cat eating pizza is quite hilarious. And then I don't think, can you see the sushi one on the top shelf?
Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah, it's a cat holding a chopstick with like a tiny paw. So
yeah,
it seems
those are really
hilarious.
cute. I think they come from maybe Japan. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, you're a big how to say fantastic of Japanese culture.
I mean, I would say that I'm just interested in it just because of my fascination with anime, and that's been something like anime has been with me for a long time, and I think like there's a lot of things about the culture that I feel like I can relate to, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, like for sure.
Like I feel like Finnish people and Japanese people feel I don't know why, but I've always felt like close to them than like any more than the Nordic countries around me.
And just speaking of being closer to how to say countries or just cultures, do you feel like Finland has had a sort of a similar way towards gaming as in Japan, for example, where maybe you didn't have the arcades and stuff, but you had the same type of how to say community? Do you feel like you had it when you started?
Yeah, I think all of my gaming related stuff was like in very close knit communities around me. But I think that's because I always felt like when it comes to technology, Finland comes a bit later than other countries. So I think like me and my friends and their friends, and I feel like this happened to a lot of people, that we had these small communities that then ended up growing with like the surge of internet and like computers being more out there. You know, I never felt like we had the arcade phase, but we had like the pre-internet PlayStation phase, and that kind of transitioned a bit to like where people would go hang out together and play like CS 1.6 and Dota, for example.
Yeah. What got you into just competing in general? Because if we take Overwatch as an example, it was like 5 years ago since the game came out, and you joined a team called LiNkzr Dynamics. How did you get into that team?
So to get into the LiNkzr Dynamics was mostly a fluke, I guess. The way I got into the competitive first time was through competing against my friends on PlayStation and again in Crash Team Racing with the time attack mode. And then that kind of transition that no matter what game I played, I always looked ways to compete, like in Warcraft 3, Dota was a thing. Then there was CS 1.6, then Dirty Bomb, and I found the team for the LiNkzr Dynamics through the forum posts. Actually, I found you I think know Artier, Drakeus.
Yeah.
And I think do you remember Tom?
I'm not sure if I do.
And then Outsider. And Outsider had a connection to LiNkzr Dynamics, and we ended up playing under their name in Dirty Bomb for a while.
Yeah. Did it feel like it was official when you how to say? I assume you got paid by them, right?
I like it was like a small thing because Dirty Bomb didn't have like a competitive scene. It was more like in name kind of situation. I didn't feel like I was a professional back then. I started feeling like a professional gamer around when I got signed into Creation Esports. I think that was when I got like an actual salary compared to the time what people were making in Overwatch.
Yeah. Did it? So if I'm not remembering wrong, when you joined the Creation, you played for a couple of months with them. Then it was kind of normal to shuffle rosters based on tournaments. Like you had Atlantic Showdown, etc. How come you stayed longer with Dignitas compared to Creation? And also, what was the big difference in Dignitas? Because it's a large organization compared to Creation back then. What did you learn, so to say?
Oh, I see. So for Creation, I think originally we were supposed to be with them for a year, actually. But then I think 6 months in, the whole team was in talks because we were doing like decently back then. And that's when like all the bigger organizations, I remember G2, who ended up not coming into the Overwatch. Fnatic was like looking for a team, and like all these bigger European organizations, at least, we are trying to find group teams under the banner, and we ended up just transitioning the whole Creation esports into the Dignitas roster.
So it was basically. Oh yeah, sorry. Go on.
And that's when I was like, okay, I am now a professional player under a team that I followed personally before in different games, and like knew all these bigger names, I guess.
Yeah. What was the difference between the professionalism in Creation? How to say that you had yourself? Like, did it change like the way you looked at your career, like the brand LiNkzr, for example?
I mean, I think I'm gonna answer this more probably in depth later, but I was still the same kid in Creation to Dignitas. I think my transition happened after Dignitas ended up dropping us.
Yeah,
because the game wasn't back then going really anywhere. And then when I joined Giganti, or RIP, I guess initially, that's when I started becoming more professional mentally, I guess.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of players have told me. You have Visibility, Masa, Cloudy, and like lots of more people from Giganti who has said that once they joined Giganti, that's when it made a big shift for them. Like if they were tilting players beforehand, in Giganti they weren't. Then after Giganti, maybe it was different. But how was it to join in Giganti first? Like what parts of you transformed in Giganti, so to say?
I think like I've always in every interview preached how good Seita is, but I think not only because of what kind of coach Seita was, but also because of my teammates, right? And all of them carried the same more mature mentality, I guess. Like how they taught me how to deal with losses, with mistakes, how like you can show emotion in a scrim environment and still come out in the end like it's okay to show that emotion, like be angry, sad, happy. And I felt like the whole team embraced the human part of the players, instead of trying to be like do this or that, or like be really hard on you, I guess.
Yeah,
like they had their own form of strictness that you abide by.
Yeah. Did it feel like you sort of had to shut down like those emotions in previous team? Maybe not previous team, but just in general in the Overwatch space, that like you're not allowed to tilt, so you have to like, bottle up, or different?
I think it was the opposite. It was like you would go overboard with your tilt. You would let it affect longer. You would like sour. Like part of the roster shuffling and everything happened due to like personal reasons. Like someone got upset with a player, and they were like, "Oh, I can't play with this player anymore because they made a mistake, and I can't get over it." Basically.
Yeah.
But in Giganti, there would be situations where like we would have two people arguing for a good 5 minutes with like insults flying around. Like that obviously is not good behavior. But like the longer we played with each other, the less this happened.
Yeah.
And like more we grew as people and moved forward, Like we ended up learning not only how we are in the game, but also outside the game.
Yeah. And now this is not very related to outside of the game, but when you were at the playoffs for Contenders with Jante in 2017, you happened to do an interview with Harsha. Now,
yeah, I did remember.
Back then, Harsha wasn't the bright coach he is right now. And I think it was also before he got that nice suit when he was in Shock for the first time.
That's true.
Did you think that you, or like LiNkzr back then, if you like look at a third person perspective, would be in Houston or would be with Harsha as a head coach? Like, did you see that in him?
No, I back then, honestly, if someone asked me to do an interview, I was like, wow, holy, oh my god, someone wants to know what I'm thinking, right? So, like, obviously, no offense, Harsha, but I genuinely could not remember for the longest time that I met you in an interview, because back then I did not like think further. You know, I was living so much in the moment because it was something that I wanted for so long that I couldn't think that it would like last longer. Like I was basically playing that every day is my last.
When did that change? Maybe did it change like in Overwatch League or with age, for example? Was it like a moment you stopped thinking short term?
I mean, I think it was just like the initial rush of like contenders playing on stage and like actually succeeding faded. That then like I just felt like more grounded. Like okay, I won something and I achieved something, but it's always about achieving the next thing and still having the motivation to do it and still being happy to be playing the game and competing with the team you have.
Then when you joined into Outlaws, you probably felt a lot of changes. I'm not sure, but maybe you did. Like I think I remember Outlaws did completely different than everyone else. Like they put a lot of effort into content. Every player like
initially.
How did it feel coming from maybe a background where a majority of the players didn't even really think about content or developing their own brand, getting that fan base or following? Did it affect the way you, or did it make you start thinking about making a personal brand like you have in Call of Duty or in Counter-Strike, for example?
I think I never really thought about branding, which was a mistake, I think, because I came from such humble beginnings, I guess, and I didn't really think deeper into the whole like Twitch YouTube scene. Like I would watch streams sometimes and I would watch YouTube videos, obviously, but I never thought it could be something for me initially. Like I remember streaming sometimes around season 1, pre-season 1, and getting like 1,000 to 2,000 people watching, just without host, like doing really good streaming wise. But I never felt like the motivation to really push streaming all the time. And I think like now that I started really enjoying streaming too, like you could see like how it affected that I wasn't really like out there with my brand from the get-go.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's something important, like the branding part, or can you focus on just the performance, so to say? Because you have some players who heavily focus on the performance, regardless of like if they are new in the scene or like rookies obviously want to perform better. But what's your stance on it?
I think it's honestly what you yourself want from life, right? Like everyone's gonna say that branding is something that will last long and it's gonna be something that you can do forever if you succeed in it. There's a lot of big streamers out there who've been like started small and they branded themselves to like bigger names in the industry and like have a lot of influence over stuff. But I think there's generally just some players who don't care. They want to play the game. They want to prove themselves for themselves and have the recognition of others without necessarily the burden of like being out there all the time and like interacting with everyone around them. And I think both paths are valid.
If we continue.
Yeah, because I think it's just about how you feel personally.
If we disregard like getting number one, of course, like you want to be number one in Overwatch League, what would you want? Well, like what do you want with the name LiNkzr? Like, yeah.
I think I started thinking about it like a year back, I guess. Like what, like I don't want to stop esports, you know. I don't want to stop gaming. I don't want to stop being part of a professional or any kind of that stuff. No matter what happens in the future, I guess. But I've always wanted my like name, my brand, I guess in this case, to be something that maybe younger me can look up to and be like, when I grow up, or when I play video games, I want to be like him.
Yeah, like a role model.
Yeah, I want to show that there is a way for everyone to find enjoyment in the game and express yourself the way you want to express yourself.
Imagine, when did you start like gaming and stuff in general? Like what age?
Okay, so I think competitively, like playing, probably first time I made my own clan in CS1 1.6, probably like 12 years ago, 11 years ago, 13, 14, I think.
Yeah. What would you tell yourself if you met yourself back then, and like, let's say you ask for some advice, like the younger one, and you clearly see like, okay, he's heading this way. How do I set him up for the most success, like loving what he does, etc.?
I think my biggest failure that I did for myself was that I think I was too afraid to pursue what I wanted, you know. I thought too hard about what others would think, or like what kind of roadblocks would be ahead of me, or what I would basically give up to pursue what I wanted. But I think if I put my heart and soul into gaming like 3 years before, I think I would be playing a different game professionally. I think there was a moment in time where I made a pact with myself that no matter what, that if I wasn't like a pro player in a year, I would quit, and I would pursue. I would go back. I would start college and like do something else that I liked back then. But
like, there's a lot of IRL things. For example, you have players dropping out of let's say engineering school to play compete, and like they really want it. Like you mentioned, for example, how did you deal with that pressure, maybe from the outside parents, friends, yourself, maybe, and just making it through?
I think a lot of it fell on me, because I don't think I ever communicated well enough to anyone around me what I wanted to do in life, you know? Like, I think everyone around me, it looked like I might be like aimless, clueless. You know, I was depressed at the time, most likely just because I bottled up the feelings of what I wanted, even though I was doing what I wanted. But everyone around me, I felt like, was judging me based on what I was doing. And like, I wasn't like failing school or having no friends, but because I never said to anyone like what I wanted to do, I felt like I never really connected with too many people, apart like a couple of my closest friends who also were into gaming or knew me for a longer time.
Yeah. Did you do anything special to how to say, deal with the stress from it? For example, let's say not only that, but even when you competed in season 1, season 2 of Overwatch League, like there's heavy practice, meta swings, just constant work. How do you deal with it? Like, do you have a certain mindset? Do you have a how do you say?
For like the practice regimen for season 1, for example, I think was around similar that I had for Contender season 1, and for the season 1 of Overwatch League, I felt like I had communicated to my like friends and family and like my peers what I wanted, right? So I didn't feel that internal pressure for myself to really explain what I did. I just like I was able to focus on what I wanted to do in Overwatch.
Okay, yeah, that's solid, and it how to say, it's inspiring to hear that, because I know how difficult it is, like to just how to say go through these matches, maybe not win every etc. And it's like a how to say, it's like Dark Souls, you know, but a new Dark Souls every time.
Yeah.
Where do you think that you will see yourself during next season? Like, do you think that you will love the traveling, or what's your opinion on the constant change, for example, with the new updates?
I mean, I think it's this season is gonna be so hard. I have strong opinions. I think of how I feel about the whole traveling and the hero pool changes, and I think it might be really hard for me personally. No, not because I don't think, like, I feel like I'm versatile enough player that I can adapt to the changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the feeling of stability, the travel, time constraints, and everything like that, I feel like, I think Dark Souls is a good reference. It feels like every time the day ends on Sunday, what they said, I think, and there would be a new rotation. It feels like you die and you start over, you know?
Yeah.
And suddenly the boss has like 17 different moves.
Yeah.
And it's like, like, I think part of me thinks that, like, hey, that's a super fun puzzle, I want to solve it. But the other part of me thinks that, like, that's too little time to do anything to really showcase like what it has to offer.
Then one last question before we wrap it up here. So with the homestands and everything, what type of feeling would you want to give the viewers when they see you? Like, what type of vibe do you want to, like, how to say, express?
I think I've always wanted to give off this. Wait, let me Google the word real quick.
Oh, no worries.
I like, yeah, it's like, oh, I opened the game. I want to show like a play style, and like, I think my personality can be sometimes flamboyant, you know, in game and outside of the game, and like, and a part of it comes from like, because I'm confident in myself, and I think part of it is because I feel like I can use humor really well sometimes to give off this like very clownish vibe, I guess, sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No, I
and
understand.
and I want to show that personality both inside the game with like very confident, like flashy plays, and then like also try to show the audience that, you know, I know how to have fun with the game.
Yeah, dude, we need more than that. Not more than that, more of that. I mean, more of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times with the kind of person I am, I tend to think a lot like what others would think of me. And it's more about just, you know, showing people who you are, and then just seeing like, okay, that's how they reacted.
Yeah.
You know, like, people will approve of you or they won't, but yeah. I want to show the world that, like, how I am.
Yeah. That's perfect, dude. That's perfect. Do you have any social media you want to plug?
I've been grinding my streams hard at twitch.tv/LiNkzr. And I honestly think that's about it. If you want to see more of me, come hang out in my streams or my Discord, because I think the community that I've been slowly like grinding are all really amazing people, and it's the kind of space where everyone kind of has something that they can relate to, if that makes sense.
Thanks so much, man.
It's a nice place.
Do you have Instagram, YouTube, or anything?
I think my Twitter is LiNkzr OW, and I haven't uploaded into my Instagram for a while, but sometimes if you want to see the dumbest stories, it's just LiNkzr OW2. And wait a second.
No
that's all my social. That's my socials. Okay. I can't remember them sometimes. GG's.
No worries, man. Thanks so much, dude, for being open to this and for joining.
No, thank you. It was fun interview.
Have a good night, and I'll see you later.
See you, man.